coming here tonight. I want to echo the comments we had earlier about this is not the time to ask for a rate increase. I'm opposed to the rate increase. When you look at the residents in the area, the number of fixed incomes and elderly folks that are struggling today, to have them have an increase in the electric rate is just an unfair thing to have. And, and I heard the representative talk about Pine Tree and investment there. I think back when they invested in Seabrook, again, another bad investment the company made. They don't seem to be too bright in that area. Back in the 80s, when they invested in Seabrook, and our rates went to the highest in the country again. We seem to have a track record for poor investment and the price to the consumer. I also want to say that as you look around to our city, our towns around us that have municipal operations, they have lower rates, better maintenance, better efficiencies. And I say to myself, why is that? They look within, they sharpen the pencil, they don't go out looking for rate increases. As the mayor said, they don't just go out, they're not a monopoly. I mean, they don't act like monopoly like Pittsburgh Unitil does. I guess when you have a monopoly, they can do what they want. But in this case, I would say that I would hope that the department looks at their operations, look at their leadership, look at their management style, look at their costs, and look at how they operate. Because, as again, look at the surrounding utilities, they're much lower rates and better equipped. So I would hope that the department is done. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you. Are there any other elected municipal officials? And could you state your name and your title, please?
I am Paula Bertram. I am an elected and selected in the town of Lunenburg. And I'd like to just say for the record that I believe that this rate increase is quite simply an outrage. For years, the Unitil customers have endured the highest rates in Massachusetts, while suffering numerous power outages and poor service, while the executive officers of the company have enjoyed extremely generous compensation packages. In 2012, the chief executive officer and president of Unitil's compensation package exceeded $1.2 million, while the residents of Lunenburg and the surrounding territories are struggling to meet ends meet. This is quite simply an outrage. The rate increase is supposed to establish a stabilization fund to cover things like storm recovery costs, labor costs, and maintenance. Those are simply part of running a corporation. As was said by some of the other speakers, all of the towns, all of the surrounding areas have found innovative ways to stretch the dollar, while Unitil keeps coming back to the trough. The reality is the trough is dry. We cannot pay these ridiculous rates. If you look at our rates, they have just continued to skyrocket, while our service is not. Just within the last couple of weeks, Lunenburg residents have again suffered power outages. This cannot continue. It is reported that in the 6 months ending June 30th of 2013, Unitil reported earnings of $10.7 million, which is a 24% increase over the same period in 2012. To report a 24% increase in earnings and to come back looking for a rate increase to cover things like material and storm recovery costs is ridiculous. It's actually ludicrous. If you're reporting a 24% increase in revenue and saying that you can't cover your costs, there is something seriously wrong with the state of the company. And I would plead that DPU look hard at what they are asking, what their executive offices are earning, and what the residents and the users are earning, because it's quite simply totally out of balance. And I plead you to deny this request and to ask them to go back and do what all of the other towns have done, what the state continues to do, which is to increase efficiencies, to tighten our belts, and to stretch the dollar, not to keep asking users to pay ridiculous rates.
Are there any other elected municipal officials? Sir, could you state your name and your title for the record, please?
My name is Robert Ebersol, and I'm also a selectman from the town of Lunenburg, elected. And I'm also a Unitil ratepayer for many years. 75 years ago, the hurricane of 1938 barreled through New England, causing widespread damage. Since then, we have had hurricanes, snowstorms, and other weather events over the years for which Unitil should have been prepared. These are not unforeseen. I would also disagree that the effect of this rate request would be either level or a less than 1% increase. While that is technically true, with this proposal, the rates should go down if we did not have this proposal. And that would provide relief to homeowners and businesses that is long overdue. I agree that reserves are good and important, but it's not clear how they will be used and accounted for as compared to general operating expenses. It is also not clear to me what the ultimate amount will constitute sufficient reserves. I ask you to disapprove this rate increase.
Thank you. Are there any other elected municipal officials? Ma'am, could you state your name for the record and your title?
Sure. My name is Dolores Tebow Munoz, and I'm a city councilor here in the city of Fitchburg, Ward 4.
Thank you.
So thank you all for coming. Thank you to our delegation for speaking tonight on all of the issues that we face in the city. I want to talk to you about a story, a real story about a town, the town of Fitchburg, that was on the verge of bankruptcy, tightened its belt, made great decisions, and with fiscal responsibility and creativity, we're trying to change this town around. One of the obstacles that we have is Unitil being here. We're like a lot of gateway cities in the Commonwealth, where we have manufacturing need and we're trying to rebuild. We have the best people in the city who are using their creative talents, their volunteer hours to really do what they need to do. Our government officials, we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we're creating the situation, the good playing situation for economic development to thrive and for our city to become that great metropolis that it once was. And we can't do that when we have Unitil here. We can't fill. I'm the city councilor for Main Street. If you drove by Main Street today, we've been working hard. That's with tightening our belts, that's with a lot of creativity and a lot of love and commitment from the people here in Fitchburg. But I'll tell you, sometimes businesses don't want to come here because of Unitil, because of what they have to pay. If you care about our state, and you care about our city, and you care about our economic growth and my daughter's future and all the children here in Fitchburg, you need to really, really deny this application for a rate increase for Unitil. Thank you.
Could you just check in with the stenographer just for the spelling of your name? You have a question. Thank you. Are there any other elected municipal officials who wish to make a comment? Are there any appointed municipal officials, such as police or fire officials, who wish to make a comment? Okay, we're going to move to the public portion of tonight's comments. I will call people in the order that they signed up to speak. For those of you who wish to speak but have not yet done so, I would ask that you fill out a sign-up sheet. We have some available up front here. The first speaker is Kathy Clark.
Hello, I'm Kathy Clark from Lunenburg. As I stand before you tonight, I am reminded not just of the repeated plea from ratepayers of this region, but specifically individuals I have met along the way. I've been fighting the charge against Unitil since the ice storm of 2008. Bills I have seen have been incomprehensible, from the many residents with regular monthly bills into the hundreds each month that leave them penniless, to the business owners trying to sustain in our region. As a real estate agent, I have also worked trying to rent commercial space with the added negative of having Unitil as a utility provider. It has also been an issue in terms of selling property in our region as well. Quite a challenge, to say the least. As another wise old realtor said to me just last night, it's not the real estate market that has brought the economy down. It's the bloodsuckers like Unitil, doubling their prices, that hit America's pockets one at a time. Simply shameless. How do you let this go on? I am amazed that the blatant disregard for the 28,000 residents of our region who have continued for years now to express their issues seem to be largely ignored. As a more recent example, I understand the recipient of the unjustified $1,200 bill for 1 month has continued to fight for resolution. How are people to believe, with this latest rate hike request, that funds shall be appropriated as intended? To date, it would certainly seem that this is not the case. In Unitil's request, they indicate as part of their filing that they are looking for a mechanism to provide for annual revenue increases in between base rate proceedings to reflect an amount the company believes the cost of providing safe and reliable service. If you're like me, you certainly do not have to look far to find their inadequacies. As a result of their subpar infrastructure, they're reported to have distribution losses of 4.6 to 5.2%, as compared to only 3.5 to 4% at municipal utilities, which surround our region. That being said, Ashburnham, Groton, Littleton, all of the towns that are within driving distance of this area. Higher distribution losses are an indication that distribution networks are not maintained properly or not upgraded in a timely fashion to keep up with the growing load. Many distribution circuits at investor-owned utilities like Unitil remain at less efficient level, while compared to municipal utilities which upgrade theirs to run effectively. Municipal utilities have, as a result, proven their effectiveness in major storms. Their use of spacer cable to support the system and tree wire has shown that quality infrastructure does make a difference, with outages during storms being minimal. This is what we need in our region. Just today, I happened to speak with a resident of Lunenburg who actually remarked to me about wire that was replaced on Leominster Road in Lunenburg. It was shredded, totally bare wire. Now we have a nice long line on that road, and now suddenly her bill has gone down. Is there a relationship between the two? Who knows? But certainly the infrastructure being updated has had an effect. Lastly, Unitil's sudden interest in a storm restoration fund. Should that come from the shareholders' pockets or the ratepayers? I think it's clear. I would request that you take into consideration the years of neglect of the infrastructure and the exorbitant costs we already pay. Like rebuilding an old car with used and broken parts, we need and deserve safe and reliable, which we have been paying for all along, but not receiving. We, the ratepayers, put our faith in you. We hope that you see the obvious. Please don't let us down. Thank you.
The next speaker is Jacqueline, and I'm not even going to try the last name. Ma'am, could you state your full name and actually spell both your first name and your last name for the stenographer, please?
Yes, Jacqueline is Jacquelyn. Last name is Wetche, Wehtje.
Thank you.
And I'm from Fitchburg. You should not give any rate increase to Unitil. When we have no choice of provider, they should not be guaranteed a profit, aka rate of return on their investment. They're certainly not entitled to something in the 8 to 12% ballpark. If you get at most 1% interest on your savings account because it's a safe investment, why should they get 10 times that for their safe from competition investment? Audience members who don't work for Unitil, please raise your hand if you continually get 8 to 12% raises at your job.